feeling like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond in the shrimp tank. When it's sink or swim, only option is to win. In the murky water, not a thought of giving in.
Hello and welcome back to the post-show video wrap-up of The Shrimp Tank. My name is Lee Heisman. I'm here with my co-host Joey Roos and our guest today. What wonderful content today. Chris Tuff. Chris, thank you so much for joining the show. I recommend listening to the show in its entirety. Go to shrimptankpodcast.com or you can download us on iTunes or Google Play Store. Chris's content was absolutely amazing. Chris is known as the Millennial Whisperer. And Chris, I wanted you to share with our audience. So you wrote a book. It's called The Millennial Whisperer. I need you to tell the audience, how did you come up with this and what exactly would they get if they purchased the book?
So it was exactly 1 year ago this past week that I was on a guys retreat in North Georgia. And the intention of the retreat was just to get away with a bunch of guys and actually talk about our feelings, which was kind of a novel concept. And as I was getting up to share my own story with this group of guys around a fire, I introduced myself and I said, you know what? I don't know exactly really what I do, but I'm kind of the millennial whisperer at work. And the guy that was putting on the whole retreat, Tommy Breedlove, as I sat down, he goes, you better write that book. And I said, about my story? He said, no, the millennial whisperer. And if you don't write it, I am. And it was after that, I said, okay, well, I don't really know how to write a book. He was like, I got this editor, Nick Pavlitas. I'll put you guys in touch. And the rest was history. It's kind of, I took it as my calling.
And what does it do, by the way? So the book, I mean, what are our listeners, if they can purchase the book when you release it in February, I think.
Yep.
Tell them, our listeners, exactly what are they going to gain from this?
So the biggest thing is I think we need to recast the whole idea that millennials are this problem. And if you actually look at the cover of the book, it's all of the negatives. And then if you turn around, it's all the positives. And we've got to start changing that conversation. And I think I've proven that millennials are one of the best generations to come along. It's just about how we can really harness this generation, engage them, retain them as employees, and use them to take our organizations to the next level. And so in the book, you will find it backed by the surveys that Deloitte and other organizations have put into play, but also all of the things, tactics that you can do, that you can put into place. So one of those things, so people are like what? Well, we start every single one of our group statuses with snaps, where everyone goes around and they give compliments to other people on the team for something that they've done for the week. And so it sets the stage of let's build each other up. And I think that's what both millennials are craving the most, but also what's missing in our organizations.
I love it.
Yeah, I love that. And one of those other tactics that you talked about during the podcast, which is so much great content, like Lee said, was the concept of encouraging a side hustle for your employees, right? Not just allowing it, but encouraging and helping to mentor them in that side hustle. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, I think a lot of organizations will, they're worried about the side hustle because they see it as a distraction, whereas you look at any of the moonshot companies, whether it be Google, Facebook, they all have programs and formalities in place to allow their employees to really harness these passions that live in their lives. And so one of the things that I work with all of my employees on is identifying those side hustles, but also helping them to create and grow those things. And if they need to raise money, I'll teach them how to raise money. If they need to be linked up with a nonprofit to help, I'll help make that link.
That's wonderful. So Chris, you also talked about you can pre-order the book, and it's not going to be released until February. Give us a little more details of where they can pre-order the book and what exactly is going to happen on that day when they pre-order it.
For sure. So if you go to themillennialwhisperer.com/shrimp tank, you can actually get a free assessment. But you can also go there to pre-order your copy of The Millennial Whisperer. And what's cool about pre-ordering on the site now is that you'll get that free assessment. And, for, I think it's worth like $25 per assessment that you buy, and it comes along with the book. So you won't get that at Amazon. But what you'll find is even just taking that assessment, which you can do today, you'll see some of those things that millennials are craving in their leaders. And an example of that is inspirational leadership. And I think a lot of us perceive ourselves as being inspirational leaders, but when we ask our millennials or people that work with us, it might be a different take. So what this will do is provide that kind of 360 feedback for it. So the millennialwhisperer.com. Millennial is a tough word. It's 2 L's and 2 N's. I've learned that through this process.
But if you just type it into the Google search bar, you're one of the first hits anyway. So
that's
do your
good.
best to type it as well.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, well, so entrepreneur is a tough word as well, right?
Yes.
But we embrace that challenge. So thank you so much, Chris, for being on the show. It was an absolute pleasure. Take the survey, get the book. Totally worth the time and investment. And download the whole episode that we recorded to get more value from Chris today. I don't want to close it down, Lee. That's always your responsibility.
No, that's all right. Well, I'm going to close it down after I pull from what Chris just said about the snap. I love that idea. I'm going to institute that at my house with my 3 daughters.
Yes.
So
There you go.
everybody's going to come home. We got to start snapping. Joe, if we could snap off for the show here. I want to
snap
thank
it
Chris
out.
for
It's all
being on
about
the show
snaps,
today.
dude.
I
Yes.
like the snaps. We're going to end on a high note. Joey, it was a treat having you as my co-host.
Thank
Chris,
you.
it was a treat having you as the guest, and I give you guys snaps up, and that was your post show of the Shrimp Tank. Thank you.